Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station. Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Sick and tired of the trash, a woman in Hartford says that illegal dumping is happening in her neighborhood.
We all were like inboxing each other, like, wait a minute, isn't that Kim? Isn't that from? And sure enough, it's Kim from.
Mate of the stepmother accused in a horrific crime is now talking about the captivity case. Thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Bridget Piorlo. She's one of many who's been sharing their story since the news broke about the Waterbury captivity case.
Fox 61's Jamel Johnson has been covering the story since it broke, and he spoke to that woman who says she and other friends couldn't believe the news about their former classmate.
Carol Griffin says the last time she remembers seeing Kimberly Sullivan was in 1986. That was at Wilby High School, where both of them were students.
We all were like inboxing each other, like, wait a minute, isn't that Kim? Isn't that from? And sure enough, it's Kim.
That's what Griffin describes the moment she and her classmates saw Sullivan on the news.
I was shocked to hear the story.
Griffin was just 16 years old at the time she last knew Sullivan.
40 years after myself.
Fast forward to February 17th, Sullivan's stepson escaped from the home he says she held him captive for decades.
Who else is in here?
My stepson is in here.
He told first responders he lit the fire intentionally inside the Blake Street home so he could finally be free. Police say he was just 68 pounds when he was found. The arrest warrant says he had limited access to food and water and was locked in his room for up to 24 hours some days. Griffin says the shocking nature of the crime baffled her.
You have to be an evil entity to do that to a human being, period. How do you, especially your stepchild that you've been trusted with?
As Griffin continues to follow the case of her former classmate, she hopes that the best can come from such a terrifying situation.
He's brave for setting that room on fire because he didn't know what the outcome was going to be. He just hoped that it came as it did, and I'm glad it did for him. I hope he makes a full recovery.
Sullivan is currently out on a $300,000 bond, and she's expected back in court next week. We'll be following this case and provide any updates as they come along. In Waterbury, Jamel Johnson, Fox 61.
All right, Jamel, thank you. To the weather now. It was an absolutely beautiful day out there today. We hope you were able to take it all in.
Now, the clouds will be rolling back in for tomorrow. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank is here with the first check of the forecast. So, Rach, what are we looking at for the first day of spring?
Fog, mist, drizzle. Honestly, classic early spring weather for us here in Connecticut. This is more unusual. 60s, even near 70 degrees outside today. We're seeing lots of sunshine, just mixing with a few fair weather clouds. But yeah, a lot more clouds tomorrow. Here's a quick look at observed high temperatures today, because we got to give a shout out to Chester in the 70-degree club. Much cooler in Groton in the 50s. Here's a look at current temperatures, and now Groton's down into the 40s, and we'll get most of the state down into the 40s as we head towards daybreak tomorrow. Looking at the satellite, you'll see clouds coming in from Cape Cod. We've got clouds coming in from Pennsylvania and New York, and this squeeze play means, well, more clouds. Overnight lows in the 40s. Watch for areas, again, of low visibility as we head towards daybreak. So check in with the morning show crew. They'll let you know if there's any trouble spots to begin the day. Areas of mist. And then as we head towards lunchtime, we're looking at temperatures near 50 degrees. So again, not as warm as today either. And we'll see high temperatures in the low to mid 50s inland. But at the shoreline, some towns may not make it out of the 40s, just because I think we'll keep that damp weather around. We'll talk about rain for Thursday night. That could end as a few snowflakes in parts of the state. Full forecast coming up.
Rachel, thank you. A Stratford homeowner's garage has been destroyed after it caught fire this morning. We're told it took 22 firefighters to tackle the fire. The garage is not attached to the house. Crews were able to contain it in the area, and it didn't spread. There are no reports of any injuries. The cause of the fire is under investigation tonight.
And we have new details on the deadly Wallingford fire from last April. Police say the young woman and baby found dead were killed days before the fire ever started. Investigators believe 24-year-old Justin Vernato killed 19-year-old Charisma Johnson and 9-month-old Kylan Vernato in the days leading up to April 17th. And that was the fire on Geneva Street that you're looking at here. They now believe he doused the home in gasoline, then set it on fire in an attempt to take his own life. He was found alive by fire crews, but later died from his injuries. Police say Bernardo had been arrested just a month before on domestic violence charges and was barred from that home. Some people who live in one Hartford neighborhood say they're concerned about a problem.
Yeah, many who live in the area of Putnam and Mortson Street say they are seeing illegal dumping there. Fox 61's Alicia Hercules spoke with one woman whose son found something very disturbing on the ground.
Jasmine Beecham says the illegal dumping has raised health and safety concerns, especially for children, after she claims that her son picked up a needle in a local park.
He picks up a needle, and before, I could think twice about what it was, like I had to yell for him to drop it.
Beecham has lived in Hartford for 4 years and says the issues with illegal dumping have only gotten worse over the years. On her daily walks through the neighborhood, Beecham says she encounters heaps of garbage like mattresses, large slabs of wood, couches, and trash bags, all left along the street.
With the warmer temperatures coming, it obviously attracts rodents. There's a smell issue.
Beecham feels that her neighborhood is forgotten or one of the less cared for parts of the city.
It doesn't seem to be much of an issue in the more downtown areas or where there's businesses and events.
She says she called the city of Hartford multiple times to get the issue addressed, but feels a more permanent solution is necessary. In response to Beecham's concerns, I spoke with Hartford Mayor Arunan Arlampalam to hear more about the city's plans to address these issues.
We've been really active in trying to get after illegal dumping. We have a case open on that specific incident right there on Putnam Street.
As the city works to attack the issue, Mayor Arlampalam asked that residents continue to report issues of illegal dumping to the city by calling 311 or downloading the app.
Well, if you dump illegally in the city, we will fine you to the maximum extent possible based on the dumping. And yeah, we've got an extensive network of cameras and license plate readers. Hartford's not a good place to commit a crime. We will find you, we'll track you down, and we'll hold you accountable.
Aside from the city, Beecham hopes that residents will also play their part in keeping the city clean by avoiding illegally dumping altogether and finding real trash sites to dump their garbage instead of on the street. In Hartford, Alicia Hercules, Fox 61.
And we just heard back from the mayor's office. They say the garbage on Putnam and Mortson Streets has since been cleaned up by the city's DPW workers. It was field trip day for New Haven Public High School students, and the Elm City's mayor joined them. They traveled to the state capitol to urge lawmakers to bump up state education funds in the state budget.
That's right. They raised many concerns about the current state of their schools, from leaky rooftops, closed libraries, and moldy classrooms. Students said these issues are the result of years of underfunding for Connecticut's public school system. In New Haven, the district gets a little over $11,500 per student, but that amount has not gone up since 2013, despite rising costs. Mayor Justin Edlicker wants to see that amount go up to at least $12,400 per student and to continue climbing with inflation. Here's why students say they're the ones paying for the price for inadequate resources.
It makes learning a lot harder, obviously. When you don't have a great environment to learn, obviously it's not going to be as effective. In order for us to actually have a very effective learning experience, we need to have our basic needs met, and that means a roof that can actually hold the water above our heads.
The Education Committee is considering new legislation that would raise funding for public schools across the state, and we'll take a closer look at the state of the schools in Connecticut and the impact on students coming up tonight on the Fox 61 News at 10.
New tonight, Governor Ned Lamont wants the state legislature to put funding promises into the state budget for gun violence prevention programs. He joined advocates at Connecticut Children's to talk about a program that put nearly $4 million in state funding toward 18 programs focused on preventing the cycle of violence. He wants the next budget to keep the same funding level. Gun violence is the leading cause of death for kids, and leaders pointed to recent tragedies to show why they still need more money.
Earlier this week, an 8-year-old boy from New Haven lost his life in an accidental shooting at home. The issue affects all of us in some way, and it takes real dedicated partnerships to create meaningful change.
We learn from each other, we pick each other's brains, and importantly, we're trying to get all of those numbers to zero.
Officials say the funding supports mentorship programs, hospital-based intervention, and after-school activities to keep at-risk youth engaged in positive environments. They say that is the most effective way to break the cycles of violence. And developing tonight, a deadly shooting in New London, and police believe a man was targeted there, but the person who pulled the trigger still has not been found. Now, here's what we know. Police were called to Moore Avenue around 6:15 last night. They found a man with a gunshot wound to the stomach. He was taken to the hospital where he died. The man's name has not been released. New London police are asking anyone with potential leads to come forward.
And pro-life advocates rallied in front of the Capitol building in Hartford today to stand against what they call Connecticut lawmakers' pro-abortion agenda.
We love life!
It's the 4th March for Life. The annual event peacefully protests for pro-life protections and state laws. The right to an abortion has been codified in Connecticut state law for over 3 decades, but lawmakers are considering a state constitutional amendment that expands equal protection. Protesters today argue that the open doors to dangerous procedures moving forward.
Do you want abortion up until birth enshrined in the state constitution? No.
We think the constitutional amendment is better and broader, and we believe we should be moving in the direction of expanding rights, not contracting them.
The bill is expected to be taken up this session. If it gets a supermajority, the question will appear on your November ballot. If just a majority, it will go back to the General Assembly.
Well, Yale police officer Gregory Swantek's celebration of life service was held a few hours ago. Friends, family, and colleagues had a chance to say one final goodbye. Police and firefighters lined the path for the motorcade to the Toyota Oakdale Theater in Wallingford. Yale Public Safety says Officer Swantek died a week ago after suffering a medical event on the job. He served in many roles during his 17 years in the department, including community engagement officer, field training officer, and bicycle officer. Officer Swantek is survived by a 10-year-old daughter. He was 47 years old.